So Boston has arguably, the Celtics have arguably been the best team in the NBA, record-wise, for 3 years, right? And they regularly, historically bizarre, regularly get throttled at home, regular season and playoffs. The last 3 years at home in the playoffs, they have a 500 record. And I'm thinking, in a league, in an era of good, like the 70s, we've had 5 different title teams in 5 years. This year could be the 6th in 6 years. Boston is just, they're pretty good. Maybe they're very good, but they're not great. And everybody keeps waiting for great, and they're not great. They're not special. They're not elite. I mean, this happens to very good teams, and Boston is very good. They don't have a Shaq in his prime. They don't have an MJ, a Bird, a Magic. They don't have a Kobe. I'd argue today they don't have an Ant Edwards. They have Jayson Tatum, who, to be honest with you, sometimes has almost a role player's mentality. I mean, last night they were 12.5-point favorites, lost by 24. That's the largest playoff loss in 30 years by a double-digit home favorite. That's insane. Is some of this they just feast on the East, and the East is really, really bad. They've been doing this for years. They were 41-11 against the East this year. Yet on this 3-year Celtics run, they have one finals appearance, and they got beat. Have they become the Dallas Cowboys, where they have a coach that we don't really believe in? They have a huge brand, which translates to massive expectations. We give them credit for being better than they are, and they have a leader that is unquestionably very good, Dak and Tatum, but sometimes very questionably great. Again, is a lot of this the Cowboys have beaten up on bad teams, often in division, Giants and Commanders, and Boston's largely beaten up on the lousy East. I mean, the Boston Celtics are not only beating up on the East. Think about the New York Knicks. Their 2 best players are hobbled. Their 2 other best players arguably are out, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, and they're going to win a playoff series. Another in the East. Could they win one in the West? I don't know. So I think the Cowboys and the Celtics, the difference is we've really come to understand what the Cowboys are. The Celtics were not there yet. Great, special, elite, all-time teams are not getting throttled by 24 at home and have a 500 home playoff record in the last 3 years. I think a lot of this is we have a leader who's unquestionably very good, but we think every time the Celtics have a great player, like a KG or a Bird, they win titles. A Magic, Kobe, Shaq out west, you win titles. I don't know. I mean, going into last night, what was Tatum, the 3rd leading scorer on the Celtics in the playoffs? I don't know. I'm not asking for perfection. To get throttled at home by a slightly better than average Eastern Conference team when you're a 12.5-point favorite, to be 500 at home in the playoffs the last 3 years against the Eastern teams, not against the much better Western teams. That's against Eastern teams. Maybe they're just very good in an era of good. I thought this was interesting. Perception is a powerful thing, but it's not reality. Although sometimes it becomes reality. Somebody gets paid based on perception. Those are what we call bad general managers and bad owners in pro sports. So Jared Goff is a quarterback for Detroit. And Brad Holmes, very, very shrewd, very smart GM. One of my favorites in the NFL. They've built a powerhouse. I've said before, the Lions are the Niners, just younger. Hall of Fame level talents to me, just younger by about 5 years a player. But it's interesting how Goff is viewed by the public and the media and how Tua is. Goff should get the extension. I wouldn't give Tua one. For 4 reasons. Number one, Goff never gets hurt. Goff's been to 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl. Goff is the bigger, taller athlete, 6'4" to 6 foot. And he's less dependent on a single head coach. Goff is one with 2. But Tua went to a college football power. had a cool slogan attached to his name, Tank for Tua, has a brilliant, clever offensive coach, plays in ideal outdoor weather all the time down south, and has the fastest guy in the world as a wide receiver. But Goff is better, and there's no question. And Brad Holmes, this is a real thing, sees through the hype. Tua has got a lot of snazzy furniture in the house. The coach, the wide receivers. But if you take the snazzy furniture out, what's the house? Goff, I like the foundation of it. He's taken Amon-Ra St. Brown and helped make him a star. 7 years, 6 playoffs. And I think there's a real thing here. If you ask the fans and you ask a lot of the media, they view these as equal or Tua as better. But the sharpest GM, one of them in the NFL, they're getting this thing done fast. The Tua thing, they're still reluctant. And so Tua's a little bit like that Miami speedboat. It's flashy, but it's seasonal. Jared Goff's the pickup truck. It works in all weather. This morning I went and looked, and this is a real thing. We talked about this about Tua a couple days ago. I went and found Goff and Tua in weather under 45 degrees. That is January, February, December football. Goff, 90 passer rating, winning record, still a very viable quarterback, 4-to-1 TD to interception ratio. Tua plummets. You got to give the extensions to the guys that are all-terrain, all-weather, the pickup trucks. December, January, February. And that is Goff. He's not flashy. He didn't come with a cool slogan. Didn't run around a lot. Everybody wishes he was a little stronger and heavier. But the job of the great GMs in basketball and football is cut through the hype and the fandom and get to the real. And Goff is really, really good. Tua just depends on the weather.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.